Okay, so gonna stream and record another league of Scapeshift Amulet. Since this I'm also streaming, I'm just gonna do this as one continuous video, so that I don't have to keep splitting things up. This hand's obviously a keep. I'll be able to Amulet on 1, draw it on 2. It's a Kahira deck, so they might ending the Amulet, but I still think that's correct. With the second bounce land, maybe I want to Grazer on 1 to play around Prismatic Ending. So if I Grazer on 1, on turn 2 I cast... no, I still think I like Amulet. I will do this on Beast. So if my opponent leaves up like counterspell mana, I can just Grazer and then replay the Cavern on Nymph when I cast the Drive. So it's looking like maybe blue-white control is what we're up against right now. I won't reveal the fact yet that I have a second bounce land, so there's a possibility that they do something like play a 3-mana Teferi and bounce our Dryad, and then we'd get to resolve a Titan. They might make a play like that because they might feel like they don't have a chance to counter a Titan anyway because of the Cavern. Okay, ending. Makes sense. Could go for Summoner's Pact here, just see what they do. Kind of tempted to do that. Counterspell, okay. So now I think I want to bounce the Talaria West and transmute it. Question is, do I want to Summoner's Pact right now while they're tapped down? I believe the answer to that is no, but it's definitely tricky. Play at the Sun home. Like there's a... I think there's just a problem of like just giving them an opportunity to resolve some sorcery speed thing. Solitude. That's fine. They might Archmage's Charm end of turn here. Okay, they don't. I think I'm going to do an end of turn pact here, see what they do. Okay. Thanks, I did have a good vacation. I saw both my brothers. Oh, is this maybe... They might be playing the, like, Days Undoing combo. It's also possible they just, you know, like, have a Narset. Okay, so we have one turn here to draw a threat. We do not draw a threat. But we do get a bounce land. So we do get to bounce the Cavern, I guess. I had a bit of trouble with Southwest. Southwest was pretty terrible, but the airline. But other than that, the vacation was good. Yeah. Okay. So I can't really effectively explore here. So I think what I'm gonna do is do I maybe just want to Scapeshift for like multiple Urza Sagas? Like I could get either 2 or 3 Urza Sagas, or I could get 2 Urza Sagas and like a Cavern of Souls. Kind of like 2 Urza Sagas and a Cavern of Souls. So as long as Narset's on the table, we can't really explore. But I will hopefully be able to kill the Narset with some Saga tokens. Surprised they didn't bounce either of my Sagas there. Chalice on 0 makes sense. So what the fact that they didn't bounce a Saga says to me is that they have a Supreme Verdict, maybe, and they're trying to like maximize the value on an instant speed Supreme Verdict right now. So I'm going to play with the assumption that they have a Supreme Verdict in hand. think I'm just supposed to get another Saga here. Not really a point of getting a Talaria West into a Chalice and presumably a lot of counter spells. Things not looking great for us. Can probably just concede this game. Maybe I'll give it another like turn to see if I draw like Primeval Titan right now. Yeah, I think I'm gonna concede because I'm just so far away from ever doing anything. Okay. I like Emrak, cool. I'm not a big fan of Bajuka Bog. I want the Cavern. They're on a bunch of chalices, so I should probably, at minimum, go up to 3 Beseiju. And Scapeshift is kind of shaky against them because they have counter spells, and also they probably have things like Subtlety, so if I do like a big Scapeshift to put a bunch of bounce lands in my hand, and then like Cultivator Colossus, and then they just Subtlety the Colossus, I kind of just lose. So I think I'll just do it like this. There's some thought to Endurance to pressure the Planeswalkers. Okay. So the question here is, do I want to lead on Amulet or Saga? Or do I want to lead on Saga or Sunhome? I think I'm going to lead on Saga. Nice draw. Okay, so we have a lot of ways things can go well next turn, probably even through a single counter spell. But if they have like a counter spell and a Subtlety, or like a Solitude and a counter spell, things might get kind of dicey. If they have an answer to the Amulet, it's also not necessarily great. So Scapeshift, the main thing you do with Scapeshift, so it can just be like a ramp spell. Like if you have an Amulet in play, it can just make a lot of mana. But the big thing you can do is like if you have an Amulet or two, you can Scapeshift, get a bunch of bounce lands or a bunch of bounce lands in a Talaria West to be able to play a Cultivator Colossus and then just like go ham. So, like, if you just get, like, a bunch of bounce lands in a Talari West, you pick up a bunch of the bounce lands in the Talari West, you transmute, you play a Cultivator Colossus, and you basically win on the spot. So it's like a mix, it's like a split card that, like, half of the split card is it is a ramp spell, and the other half of the split card is that it's a threat. Okay. Yeah, counterspell and subtlety. And then we're 1 mana short of going like Grazer into Titan here. So we're just dead. Because of our pact. I mean, they had counterspell plus subtlety. Like, you know, I think we're supposed to go for it there. Maybe I'm supposed to, like, Grazer before Azusa, so that if my opponent makes the misplay of, like, subtletying the Grazer, then, like, we still have a chance. I don't know. Rough time. I could have just played it more safe. And maybe that was the right play there, would be to just, like, let the counterspell happen, go for it again next turn. So let's see. If I turn 1 Saga Amulet, turn 2 Forest. I think I'm supposed to keep this. So, like, Scapeshift with double Amulet has a lot of potential. The question is, I don't know if I'm supposed to... I don't know if I'm supposed to Saga on 1 here or on 2. I'm going to Saga on 2. I'm going to assume that this hand is like a confident turn 4 kill. And in the meantime, we can make some blockers. Well, now I wish I had Saga on 1. But nothing we could do about that now. As long as I don't have double hammer, I think we're fine. We can definitely beat a single hammer. Well, unless they put that single hammer on an Inkmoth Nexus, in which case we're just dead. So we just gotta hope that they don't have hammer, I guess. We definitely would have killed on turn 3 if I'd played Saga on 1. Well, now they don't have enough mana to activate and suit up Nexus. Well, no, they do, because the Paradise Mantle just shifting around. They have all the mana they need. So I could just go for... I could just go for a definitive kill with Titans here. But where is the fun of that when you could... Colossus with 6 lands in hand. So I'm going to bring the Forces, the Dismembers, the Besejus. And to make room, I think I'm going to cut the Scapeshift combo and the Explorers. And what else have I been cutting in this matchup? Yeah, Scapeshift's good. Did it not look good there, or just won us the game? Is winning the game the first match you see with it not enough goodness? It would have been a turn 3 kill if I just kept if I just played the Sagan one. It's a split card between a ramp spell and a threat, so it helps us with our threat density while also helping us with explosiveness in the matchups like, you know, Tron or Creativity, which you just want to go really fast. The way that this deck uses Scapeshift is completely different than the way a deck like Scapeshift uses Scapeshift. We're not trying to do it to, like, get Dryad. I have never once cast it to, like, get Valakut's with a Dryad in play. That's just not at all what we're trying to do with the card. It's just a mixture between you either cast it as a ramp spell or you cast it to grab a bunch of bounce lands and a Talaria West and get a Cultivator Colossus and just win when you have an Amulet or 2 in play. I think I'm just going to dismember this Memnite to mess with their mana, because right now, like, all their mana is sort of tied up in having this Memnite in play. It's also just like one less thing for them to put a hammer on. Okay. Scapeshift is also not my tech. It's like, other people have come up with this Scapeshift idea, and I'm mostly testing it out. But I think it's very good. It's been good for me, like, basically every time I've seen it. We'll let them draw a card. Yeah, so, like, I can show you, like, how... So this is this list I was playing before I played this Scapeshift, so I moved a cavern to the board, and I cut the second Azusa for the 2 Scapeshifts. So 1 cavern got moved to the board, and 1... and yeah, so like... So the problem with like a list like this, and I think this is a great list, and I'm happy to play this list, I think it's really good, is that like you really need to draw your threats, right? You have 9 threats, and if you don't draw one of them, you just lose the game. And like that's one of the biggest ways you lose the game with a list like this, is just like not drawing one of your threats. But like, as long as you have an amulet in play in a list like this, Scapeshift just becomes threats like 10 and 11. It just becomes like, you know, when you cast it, you generally win the game. So, like, it's just threats 10 and 11, and it also just, like, it sets up really busted things. Like, it can make you get to Primeval Titan a turn faster. Like, if you have an amulet in play, you only need, like, 3 lands before Scapeshift becomes mana positive. And if you have 2 amulets in play, you only need 2 lands in play before Scapeshift becomes mana positive. So you can have, like, 2 lands in play, cast a Scapeshift for 2 bounce lands, that makes, like, 8 mana, and then, like, Summoner's Pact for a Cultivator Colossus. And in addition to, like, producing the mana to get you to that Cultivator Colossus, it's also put more lands into your hand, because those 2 bounce lands now go up to your hand. Yeah. So it's really like, I always kind of see these like as a package. Like, you need the Cultivator Colossus in the deck to have the Scapeshift. So as soon any matchup where you're cutting Cultivator Colossus, you have to cut the Scapeshifts. You know, you can have Cultivator Colossus without Scapeshift, but you can't really have Scapeshift without Cultivator Colossus. Yeah, I would say, like, I agree with, like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, which is, like, I think why I was originally sort of skeptical of... I'll keep this. I think I was originally sort of skeptical of... of Scapeshift, because it's like, what is it adding to the deck? But I think the thing that it's adding, the main thing that it's adding to me, is the threat density, which is like the thing that I do think is broke with this sort of list, is just not drawing threats and losing that way. If they take the Summoner's Pact here, I might just play the bounce land and bounce the Saga, and then we can try and, like, you know, have threats via Saga tokens and, like, Dryad. We might even, like, depending on our draws, you know, we might map for Talaria West, we might map for Valakut. Okay, if they're doing this, then I think we're just going for a more combo approach, probably. So, yeah, so what I'm going to do is I will Beseiju, Grazer, Castle. Beseiju was actually a great draw because even though Grazer is +1 mana either in play or in hand, we would have had trouble with green mana if we didn't have the Beseiju. So, like, having enough green mana to activate Castle, but with it as it is, we're now set up for the turn 3 Titan. Okay, Kroxa. I think I'm going to actually discard the Pact. I think it's important for me to have mana. And I'm probably going to end up using this map for Bajuka Bog rather than for a bounce land. So I think I need a bounce land. I'd really like it if they didn't make me crack this map this turn, because I'd like to be able to make a saga token rather than having to crack map. That probably means I'll have to crack map this turn. They're just getting a little too close to Croxa for comfort. They were like a fetch land and a 1-mana. I guess no, they would if they I didn't have to do that there. That was actually a play mistake because they didn't have the mana to both play a spell and a Croxa. I mean, like, I guess if they had like specifically fetch land Mishra's Bauble, but that's pretty unlikely. So I think I made a play mistake there. Like, it's not completely awful because I am, like, by going faster for the bogs, I am going to be able to faster get to a point where I can bog myself and shrink the Goyf, but I think making a construct was probably the better call. So, like, this is also a situation, right, where right now, right, like, I'm just trying to top deck, and right now, Scapeshift is a game-winning top deck. Guess I was supposed to keep the Summoner's Pact because I drew a bounce land and I haven't been able to draw another threat. I think an important question is if they attack with both Goyfs, do I double block one? It's kind of bad if they like just have a removal spell for the construct, but on the other hand, I kind of like if they have a removal spell, I kind of just need to draw a Titan anyway, so we might as well. Yeah. Titan Pact, Colossus, Scapeshift. Those are the draws we want. Dryad's also an okay draw. More lands. Cool. That's what I said I wanted, right? More lands. Yeah, that doesn't do anything really. cool. Thanks, Moniz. Yeah, I think I'm waiting on House's audio right now before I can release the podcast. Um, I've been enjoying it. It's won games. Yeah, well, that's a lot of lands we drew in a row. Okay, so against like a Jund deck, I think Scapeshift is kind of unreliable because I think they're gonna try and go after our amulets. They are Ragavan decks, so maybe I'll just do 2 Dismembers just to like have a card that does a thing. And I'll trim a Cavern for Beseju. Even though 3 Besejus is kind of questionable with the whole legendary thing, I do think there's a reasonable chance there's like some number of sideboard cards they could bring in, like Alpine Moon or Damping Sphere or whatever. They could be a Saga deck. Like with Renin 6, they're probably a Saga deck. I don't know. I guess Renin 6 would be in any Jund deck. Yeah, like I guess nothing they did showed me anything about like what they would be. I am questioning the Scapeshift against though. Maybe it's just good for top decks though. Like all I need is really like 1 amulet in play. Like there was the whole points that game where like anywhere I draw a Scapeshift, I just win. Maybe I'll do the Dismembers on the draw. I'm not interested in Endurance. Oh, I probably should have brought in Radiant Fountain. I'll bring in Radiant Fountain game 3. So I'm going to lead on Castle here because I think there's a reasonable chance this Amulet gets discarded. And if the Amulet gets discarded, I really don't want my turn 2 to be nothing. I don't feel like I can cut Cultivator Colossus when there is like a chance of Necromentia. And also, if I'm doing Scapeshift, I have to have Cultivator Colossus. I'm not going to trim Grazers against a Ragavan deck. That sounds like actually insane. Also, Grazers are really good to... Grazers are also good as, like, something to sack to, like, a Liliana downtick. I think I'm going to explore here just to be more mana efficient. And, like, I think I want to, like... So I think I'll bog them here. And I'm going to save the Saga because I want to cast Dryad next turn and I want to get max value off the Saga. I also think there's like you need ramp. Like hands aren't keepable if they don't have ramp, and then like uh if you have one ramp spell in hand and they just play a discard spell and discard the one ramp spell you have in hand, then you're just like done. Like the game's just like you're really in bad shape. Rip Saga. Titan? I think Grazer's fine. Like I said, I think you want to ramp. I mean, like yes, like a lot of these ramp cards are looking underwhelming right now, but like it's not like we're losing the game to like not having a dismember. We're losing these games to just never drawing a Primeval Titan is like the issue. Like I don't know what card I'm more looking for. If I had something in the sideboard I was more excited about, maybe. Nostalgia stream with Lotus Bloom? I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever do that. I've done that before. It's hard to like want to get behind Lotus Bloom when like 3 mana Teferi is a modern legal card. Also, like we have so much better options now. I think there's value to me keeping this Grazer to like hold off a dashed Ragavan or whatever. Cool. Opponent gives us a lot of good information by being empty-handed. Ugh. I guess this is okay because it turns any bounce land into a threat. Croaks is going to get escaped though. So we have to draw a bounce land or a threat immediately. Sacrifice a creature. Guess it's gonna be the Arboreal Grazer. So, like, I want to be able to, like, if we have a Titan, be able to, like, haste and double strike. I don't know why they're doing this pre-combat. Just shrinks their Goyf. Unless they're not planning on attacking. Yeah, opponent missed 1 damage, which could be, like, a relevant damage, because, like, right now, if we... Well, okay. Nothing matters. We drew our Titan. Oh, shit. Boros is in our graveyard. LOL. Okay, so we have to think. We have an Azusa. We have made no land drops. We have a Talari West. If we get 2 bounce lands, we have 5. We have up to 11 mana. Which means we could make a second Titan with red-white floating, which would allow us to... Wait, let me double check this. We have 11 mana, second Titan, red-white floating, haste the first Titan, and then attack and double strike it. That should work. So let me just count it again. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, we got it. Boros Garrison, who needs it? I guess this isn't lethal, is it? Because it's only 16? Wait, 16... They have to block the Titan, right? So I can attack with this as well. Or I can attack Liliana. Is there any value in attacking Liliana? Okay, wait. So I've got 16, 17... No, this is just lethal. It's 16. I can't do math. Don't make me do math. I figured it out at the beginning of the turn, and then I doubted myself halfway through. Okay, so we're going to be on the draw. I think I want the Radiant Fountain. I don't know if I want to do anything else different. This is one of the reasons I still like Castle. Like, I'm still on 2 Castle. I see some people... You know, I've talked about moving away from Castle, and for a period I was. But I think, like, attrition, like Death Shadow and stuff, it's nice to have a Castle. I don't know. I'm just going to play Amulet Titan. I'll make opponent sideboard. Sideboarding is for people who aren't playing Amulet Titan. They gotta figure out how to beat me. Yeah, I think I ended up having to bite the bullet and cut Crumbling Vestige. Was part of me fitting in the castle. I don't think I can go down to 5, so I guess this is where we're landing. I don't know which I like better, the Grazer or the Azusa. Probably the Azusa is better. I just feel like I'm just gonna get wrecked by a turn 1 Ragavan. Not that I could play the Grazer without drawing a green source, but like... Okay, no Ragavan. Opponent might be one of those people that subscribes to the school of thought that, like, oh, you gotta cut your Ragavans against Amulet because, you know, they play Arboreal Grazer. I'm not entirely convinced Azusa's way better. Like, I don't think the, like, extra land drops are, like, all that big. Like, you just need ramp. You don't need, like, a ton of ramp. And then, like, Grazer just blocks so much better. I'm going to play Valakut, because... And I'm going to Cavern on human for Azusa because I don't want to get blown out by, like, a Pillage or a Damping Sphere or an Alpine Moon or anything else that interacts with lands. A discard spell in the Azusa would be kind of bad here, but I'm more afraid, I think, of the, like, land interaction. Okay. So this is like, this feels like very classic Amulet Titan. This feels like, you know, 2012 Amulet Titan of, like, we're casting a turn 3 Azusa so that we could cast a turn 4 Titan with, like, no additional backup or ramp. Like, that's all we're doing. Nostalgia. That's what we got going here. If they do discard the Summoner's Pact, we at least can play the bounce land, bounce the Talaria's West, and transmute it. If my opponent plays the Liliana and upticks, I'll probably discard the Explorer, since we don't really need land drops, and it's just basically just a random draw. Is my opponent going to play a second Ren and 6 and then down ticket on the Azusa? I mean, I guess like part of this is probably they're trying to grow their Goyf to have some sort of clock, but this just looks so bad. Croxa? Another Goyf? Okay. So we're getting to resolve a Primeval Titan. That's also a good draw. No, Titan's better than Dryad. We'd get, what, like 2 triggers with Dryad? Now, the real question is, how much do I want to play around something to the effect of, like a Damping Sphere, or like a Pillage, or a Fulminator Mage? Because I really want Bajuka Bog. But I also am going to need to pay for a pact. The thing I'm also afraid of, though, is just like a Terminate. Like, if I don't bog them, then Terminate is like really bad for us. So I don't think I can afford to not bog. And so then the second thing is just going to be a green source. I guess I'll get a Simic Growth Chamber. Yeah, I'm planning on bouncing Cavern so that I could theoretically replay Cavern on Dryad next turn, or on Nymph. Yeah, I agree this is the play. I'm just like, there's a lot of ways that this could lead to us just being dead right now. I mean, I think with the extra summoners packed in hand, you know, you could maybe try and play around stuff a little bit, but yeah, I think I was mostly just worried about this specific outcome, which is they terminate, which is why I made the play I did. Guess we'll explore. Maybe we want to hold explore in hand because they could Croaks us, and we might want like a non-land card to discard. One, two, three, four, five, 6, 7, 8, 9. Tricky, tricky. I'm gonna hold the Explorer just specifically just because I want to be able to discard something to Croxa if they play it. Do they have another Run and 6 or a Ragavan or a Bolt? I feel like they definitely should have gone after Bajukabog over Valakut. I guess it doesn't matter, we're just dead. Because there somehow wasn't a land in the yard before. Yeah, what was the top card if I did Explore? I don't know. I don't feel like playing out at 1-2. I'll just drop. I don't need 100 play points. So I'll just drop. Well, that was a disappointing league. Right. Yeah. I wonder if Radiant Fountain would have been better than Bog there. Probably not. I think we did what we could. I don't think any of our plays were bad that game. I think it just didn't work out. I'll keep this on the draw. I really should throw away hands like this. I'm so bad at like just throwing away garbage. I just see too much potential where I should just be tossing things. Second Saga's okay. At least we now have a definitive turn 4 kill, which will probably be too slow, but we got turn 3 Dryad. Turn 3 Dryad Construct, turn 4 kill. If our opponent just blood moans us while we have double Saga, that'll be pretty funny. But Scalding Tarn makes me kind of feel like this is probably like a blue-red prowess deck, which is good for us in that it probably doesn't main deck Blood Moon and probably does not have counter spells. Other than like possibly like a Spell Pierce or something, but most likely no counter spells. Grazer's also not a bad draw, so we just kind of get to poop out a bunch of dorks next turn. So we'll be well set on blocking. I think Prowess in general is a deck that is underplayed because I think being a Lava Dart deck in a Ragavan meta is like not a bad place to be. And like Soulscar Mage like gives you an ability to like kind of fight Murktide with and you can also just like bounce it with like a Vapor Snag or like a Petty Theft depending on what the rest of your list looks like. I was talking so much, I just missed the fact that I could have... No, I couldn't have cast Primeval Titan this turn. Not enough green mana. Okay. I will cast an Explorer, because, like, there's some draws that put us to Titan off Explorer. Yeah, for a sec I thought I had just missed that we could Titan, but no, we didn't have enough green mana. Okay. So I want to leave myself with one Grazer in hand, so that I can, with the double Amulet, do a bunch of nonsense next turn. But I'll put one Grazer in play so that I can just have a bunch of blockers. And I'm holding the Valakut in hand because of Cultivator Colossus. So even if they kill my Dryad here, we just win, so... Unless they have some sort of, like, interaction for Amulet and Dryad. Which is a pretty, probably difficult to pull off. I think Scapeshift is best in like linear matchups where you're trying to race. So things like creativity, it's really good against. It also just generally, like ups your threat density, so you lose a little bit less to yourself. So I think I'm just going to make 2 Titans here and haste both of them. I have to make 2 because they do have a Lava Dart, so I guess Lava Dart doesn't matter because they're only at 15 life, so... I'll just show the Titan, so maybe they concede to just the Titan. Okay, so against Prowess, I want the Dismembers seem great, the Seijus seem great, and Radiant Fountain seems great. I think bringing this many things in, I probably have to cut the Scapeshift combo to make room. Trim a Cavern of Souls. Trim a Valakut, since I think they'll probably do a pretty good job of killing our Dryads. Trim the Majuka Bog. Trim an Explorer. They might play Alpine Moon. I've been doing a lot recently of just like keeping the sagas and just like YOLOing it, and been feeling pretty good with that. Mulligan. This is better. I will keep this. And bottom Gruul Turf. You mean I prefer Saga over Bog? Yes. They might be holding up a Spell Pierce here, so I'll just Grazer. I don't know how much I'm supposed to play around Blood Moon here. I think I'm just gonna... I think I'm just gonna lose to Blood Moon if they play it. I think I'm okay with that. I'd like to leave myself open to like Talaria West into something, and like I also potentially want to bounce this Radiant Fountain and replay it to gain some life. So like, and if we bounce the Beseiju to hold things up, then we would have to then draw another land before we draw a Titan after the Blood Moon. So it just feels like a game we're not winning if that's where it goes. I think Saga also, like, it plays an important role of, like, Saga into map into Talaria West. Like, it can be important. Yeah, but I don't have enough mana to, like, Talaria West. Like, if I draw Talaria West with this after playing the Simic Growth Chamber, I don't have the way to make the double blue. Same for Expedition map. So I'd be turning off 3 of the threats in my deck if I put Beseiju into hand. Do want to win this game. There is more to the game than just not losing. You also have to win. Probably should have held the Valakut in hand in case I... Oh no, I don't have Cultivator Colossus in my deck anymore, so... Slam it. Who cares? Yeah, Saga here looks a lot better than Bojuka Bog would. Even if they do Alpine Moon it. Still better than Bojuka Bog. Rip Azusa, you served me well. Guess I should have floated mana before doing this. So they have to have another spell, play a spell, any spell, and they win? I think if they just let the dismember happen and then dismember this, or Vapor Snag the construct, that also wins them. But anyway, no Titans, no win. Deck's perfect. Run it back. Maybe one Valakut is kind of questionable. I just think they can answer Dryad a lot of the time. I'll keep. It's a turn 4 kill, but it's pretty similar to the game 1 hand we had where it's turn 3, make some blockers, turn 4 kill. And if they Alpine Moon us, obviously we're ruined. Oh, actually we get to turn 3 Titan now? Now that we are planning on doing a turn 3 Titan, maybe I play around the Alpine Moon by not Vesuviing here. I guess it's only a turn 3 Titan if Azusa survives, which is a very big if. So I'll put the Saga in. No fear of the moon. Fair enough. We're not out of this game. If I know my opponent was going to be stuck on one land, I definitely would have played around the moon. I mean, they were stuck on one land, so their hand has to be all gas. This is my fault for not playing around the Alpine Moon. That was like... Okay. This is probably best case scenario for us. And best case scenario is they miss on land. Okay. So I gotta block because if they have mutagenic growth and I don't block, I'm dead regardless. Oh, we win. Oh my god. How? How are we winning? Vesuva's in our graveyard. So I guess we just mow down the creatures while replaying Radiant Fountain. We've got... Because we don't have another... We sided out the extra Valakut. We've got... Wait. We've got 2 land drops. So we... Wait. 2 land drops. We have exactly lethal? Because they're at 14. Because we can attack with the Dryad. easy mode. Wow, Heathen King, thanks for the subs. I appreciate that. Yeah, I also don't stream that often, so it's probably been gaps in between the streams. We boarded one of them out. Yeah. So we Vesuva'd on Urza's Saga, which got killed. So the Vesuva was in the graveyard. The Vesuva was in the graveyard, and then I boarded out a single Valakut on the theory that I had a lot of cards I wanted to bring in Dismember and Viseju to like play around like Blood Moon type things, and I needed something to cut, and I don't know, Valakut is like, you know, you have to have the Dryad in play, and they have ways to like kill Dryads with like, you know, their burn and like making us block and all these other things. So Dryad's kind of like unreliable anyway. Vapor Snag. So I thought one Valakut would be enough, and it turned out to be exactly enough. A little slow, but I'll keep it. I like the sort of resiliency of this hand. Like, this just feels like a hand that my opponent is going to have a lot of trouble stopping me from eventually killing them. You know, no prismatic endings or March of Other Worldly Lights or Teferis or whatever matter. Oh my god, is this... Okay, for a sec I was like, is this Ponza? Don't want to be playing Ponza. I'm not playing any Krasis in this 75. So I guess that lets you know how I feel about Krasis. No, this is that one combo deck, the one Canister I think played or whatever, the like the 4-mana enchantment thing that you draw 2 cards every time you play a spell. Song of Creation, thank you. Okay, if I draw an untapped land, I'm going to bounce the castle, because if I draw an untapped land, I can play Dryad, and then play that land and castle, and then play Titan, and kill. This feels like dead. I'd be surprised if we're not dead here. I think anytime they cast Song, we're pretty dead. Yeah, like Summoner's Pact, they get to draw 4 cards off Summoner's Pact. We'll let them do their thing. We do get some nice sideboard options. So we get to bring in the 4 Civigers and the Besejus, and we'll be up to 4 Besejus. Okay. So this is what we're up against. So... yeah, it doesn't look like they... It seems like they're really weak against us interacting with Song of Creation. So I think if we just bring in the 3 Force of Figures and the extra Besejus, like, I don't know if they can beat that. Alright, who in chat wants me to let him play it out, and who in chat wants me to concede and move to next game? What's the general feeling? Scoop? Okay. Okay. Yeah, so I'll bring in the Forces and the Besejus. And I want to keep the Scapeshift combo, I think. I think we're going to trim on Grazers. Because I think Explorer is quite good. Especially when we're trying to dig for these. I want to keep the Scapeshift combo. I'll cut a Bog. I'll cut a Cavern. Cavern does have some value because they are like a Pact of Negation deck, but they have difficulty playing Pact of Negation. I just want to go as fast as possible. Is this fast? This seems fast. I'll keep. We got Force of Vigor, so that's probably good, right? We need to draw lots of lands, but... opponent's on a mold of 3. Okay. Well, hopefully we can beat a mold of 3. I guess I could have, like, Grazered here, but I think there's some value to just... I think we're just going to hold this Grazer in hand to have something to exile the Force. Part of me is tempted to just force here, but I don't think I will. If I get a redundant force, I will, though. Ooh, Beseiju. Not bad. Not bad at all. So now we're even kind of protected against, like, if they had 3 mana to Fairy. Because of the Beseiju. Oh no! My Dryad! So I did go for Titan next turn because I wanted to leave up Beseiju because I don't think we can lose this game. Okay. Yeah, if our opponent could just mold a 3 again. I'm not one to turn down a turn 3 kill. I mean, we are kind of weak to, like, the Nature's Claims, and they could just combo us out. But I think they're going to have a harder time comboing us out now that they've added cards in from their sideboard, which, like, they've added in sideboard cards. What am I trying to say? Which are not part of their combo, things like Nature's Claim. Okay. We'll see if they have the turn 3. I'm doing this because, let's say if they do have, like, a Nature's Claim on our Saga, I'd like to start attacking with a token to just have pressure, especially if we, like, end up having to exile this Primeval Titan to a Force of Vigor we draw. Most likely, it's just going to be, they're going to go for the combo on their turn, and if they got it, they got it, and if they don't, they don't. I mean, I don't think I can turn down a turn 3 kill hand to try and mulligan for like a Force of Vigor or whatever. Oof. Summoner's Pact is rough because it's 4 cards. Like when they're stuck on draw choose, you kind of feel like maybe you got a shot. It's unfortunate because I feel like we have the tools to combat this matchup in like the 4 Besejus, the 3 Forces. I don't know how consistent their turn 3 is. Are they supposed to... Do they have a third endurance? I feel like these lists only play 2 endurance, and I think endurance is an important part of their combo. I feel like my opponent might have just messed up, right? I guess they have Grape Shot. Sometimes they side out the Grape Shot, though. Like, I'll concede to a Grape Shot. But, like, how are they going to make enough mana? How are they going to make enough mana now that their endurances are in their graveyard? Like, it feels like... Unless they have the Grape Shot still in their deck, which is no guarantee, it feels like they messed up. They got one more offer, so they can get up to 4 mana, but they can't get up to the 5 mana for Master of the Way. Do they just win games by, like, playing enough of their cards and then everybody concedes? Like, do they know how their combo works? LOL. I'll take it. I'll take it. And that is why you don't concede to combo decks. Okay, I will say... Yeah, so with regard to the current Twitter poll about how do you feel when your opponent makes, like, an obvious play mistake, I think in general, I feel like it's situational, right? Like, if I'm watching an opponent play bad in a game that I'm still losing, that, like, makes me feel bad. But that play mistake, watching that happen right there, that made me feel good. That was a good... I'm gonna cycle the Explorer just to start, just to... You know, you never know. We could draw an Amulet, get a turn 2 kill. Okay. So now, even if our Dryad dies, we have a Titan because of the Scapeshift. We can get like bounce land, Castle Garenbrig. I kind of wish I had Crumbling Vestige in my deck right now, because if I had Crumbling Vestige, I could Scapeshift and get, like, let's say if I didn't draw this Vesuva and just win anyway, I could Scapeshift and get Bounce Land, Castle Garenbrig, Crumbling Vestige, play the Titan with 2 plans in play, get Vesuva on Crumbling Vestige and Slayer Stronghold to haste, and then get double Valakut. So, like, maybe something to consider. Maybe Scapeshift is enough of a reason for me to, like, find room for the Crumbling Vestige. But it just doesn't matter because we just have lethal. Easy mode lethal. Doesn't really matter. So against Burn, we want the Radiant Fountain. We don't want the Bajuka Bog. I actually think Scapeshift's pretty good against Burn, probably. Then again, they are gonna try and like smash to smithereens our amulets. But yeah, we just want to go fast. I also like that we can Scapeshift, like, even if we we can Scapeshift even if we don't have a kill, just for like Radiant Fountain. For what? What is the goal of adding Prismatic Omen? Scapeshift isn't for Dryad. These cards are completely unrelated in their roles in the deck. Scapeshift is to get a bunch of bounce lands with an Amulet in play, and then play a Cultivator Colossus. Or like a bunch of bounce lands in a Talaria West. This is fine. Totally fine. In all the time I've played Scapeshift, I've never once cast a Scapeshift with a Dryad in play for a kill. That has never been the point of Scapeshift. It's always get bounce lands with an Amulet in play to get Cultivator Colossus, get bounce lands plus Talaria West to get a Cultivator Colossus, ramp to Titan. Okay, so hopefully we can dodge the hate. And just get our turn 3 kill. Well, that's a terrible draw. So now we need a ramp spell. Otherwise our Titan's gonna look really sad. Okay, we're back in business. Crisis averted. Sorry if I came off a little short with that last answer about Scapeshift. I just feel like I've been answering that question all day, but I have to remember that a lot of people, it's just their first moment coming into chat. Okay. Yeah. This is not a combo in this deck. This is the combo. I mean, I guess in theory, probably at some point I will play a Dryad, I will get 6 lands into play, and I will Scapeshift for a win. Like anything that can happen will happen eventually, but it hasn't really come up or mattered at all to me so far. Kind of looking to like affinity to me here more than it's probably gonna get metallic rebuked. Kind of looks like more like affinity than hammer. Yeah, I wanted them to kill the amulet over the map because I think I really need the map to resolve. Could have just played the Dryad off the cavern that turn. Might have showed my hand a bit too much that I needed lands though. So if my opponent taps out, I can crack the map for Castle Garenbrig. And if they don't, I can I could sack the map for bounce land. Okay, let's see. Maybe an extra Valakut and Cavernous Souls on Giant, so if they bounce it, they can't counter it on the way back down. I feel good about our position. And I feel good going into game 2 and 3 with a bunch of sideboard cards. Yeah, also, like, look what our sideboard's gonna be. Like, we're gonna bring in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cards, 11 cards out of our sideboard in. Yeah, so I think we want 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 cards we'll bring in. We can cut the castles. We can cut the bog. We can cut the combo. Probably trim on grazers. Trim on basic forest, since we're bringing in a bunch of Besejus in a cavern. Two more. Just cut the grazers, just play with the explorers, and we're a control deck. Like, do we even need grazers? I don't feel a need to go fast. Maybe I'm supposed to keep in one grazer just for the, like, packed target. But I think I'm fine. Sure, so we go Saga into Saga. We have a Dismember for like a Meddling Mage or a Lavinia or a Hushbringer. Ingenious Smith. I don't think I care about that one. I'm going to save this Dismember for a Meddling Mage, a Lavinia, or a Hushbringer. Portable Hole. I don't think that changes anything. Cool, so we're just set up to win next turn. I guess theoretically they could have Metallic Rebuke for the Amulet. Don't even need the... Oh, I can't cast the Dismember. Lavinia, no! So I gotta be a little bit careful with my sequencing here, because I can't Pact and I can't Dismember. But I should be fine. I can make enough white mana so I can get the Boros on the attack. They're at 18, so it's lethal. Yeah, all those sideboard cards really mattered. If that Lavinia was a Meddling Mage or a Hushbringer, the Dismember would have been good. That's the thing about Infinity is like post sideboard they bring it. They have so many blue white like creatures like hate bears that they can bring in. That's like the main way you can lose is just like lose to some hate bears. They like portable hole an Amulet and then they get down like a Hushbringer or a Lavinia. Maybe a well-timed dispatch. Thanks for everyone who's watching the stream, and thanks for everyone who's been following. I really appreciate it. Sorry if I sound a little tired or grumpy or whatever. I do appreciate you all. Yeah, so for anyone who hasn't heard yet, the Scapeshift goes with Amulet. You grab a bunch of bounce lands, maybe a Talaria West, you play a Cultivator Colossus, and that's sort of the combo kill. You can also just like get a couple bounce lands to get extra mana for a Titan or Colossus. It's nice because when you get the bounce lands, you get to put them in hand. So like if you have a Summoner's Pact, you can like Scapeshift, get like 3 bounce lands or whatever, net some mana, put them in hand, and then play Cultivator Colossus and like instantly win. That's been my experience with it. You know, I think everybody looks at like the Dryad and the Scapeshift and assumes these two cards go together, but I've never once used them together. I also did like a Scapeshift one time where I just like sacked 2 lands to get 2 Urza's Saga in like a control matchup. I think it was 3 lands for 2 Urza's Saga and a Cavern of Souls. So it can like potentially just be like an upgrade your lands type thing, but mostly it's like a ramp spell and a threat. Keep. I think I'll just lead on Grazer and start making Saga tokens. Oh, you know what? I should have played the Boseiju rather than the Forest, because there's a good chance I'll have a double Amulet in play at some point this game, and having Castle Garenbrig come into play tapped would actually be better. So I should have led on the Boseiju, not the Forest. Living End, you say? No second land, you say? Very interesting. So I don't think I'm in any rush to play Titan here. I think I'm just gonna grab a cause like I don't want to like get blown out. Ooh. Okay, so we can maybe have some fun times. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to lead on the Summoner's Pact. See how they feel about that. If the Summoner's Pact gets forced, then we Scapeshift. Okay, Summoner's Pact resolves. Um, they could theoretically have a bounce effect with 2 blue up, so let's go the fun route because we can. Because nobody can tell me not to. I think they play the Sky Turtle, is the one I expect more. If they have a subtlety here, it's pretty bad news for us. Yeah, but the thing with the Scapeshift there is if they force of negation the Pact, then I would have just cast the Scapeshift and won with that. Oh, didn't mean to hit an Amulet trigger before a bounce trigger there. Should be all good, though. Okay. I don't think they main deck many subtleties. I think they have some main deck subtleties. Okay, so I want the Endurances. I don't think I want Scapeshift. I think that Scapeshift is too weak to things like subtlety. And because like we go for a wild combo and then they just subtlety us. I'm gonna actually run to the restroom before I figure out what the last cut is. Yeah, so I'll just cut the Cavernous Souls. We're on the draw. 31 lanes is fine. Being on the draw is actually pretty solid against Living End. Yeah, so here's the plan. I'm gonna keep this. I'm gonna go turn 1, Forest, not play the Grazer. Turn 2, bounce land, discard the Primeval Titan. A lot of them bring in Endurance against us specifically because we do this. But, like, you know, if they overboard too much, they're making their plan kind of weak. This really only slows us down 1 turn and potentially slows them down a lot more. getting the Boros Garrison in play, because if they do Living End, it would be nice to have access to that red and white mana. Reasonable chance of subtlety happening here. We'll just top it, and we'll play Grazer. The nice thing about these Grazers, too, is we block the subtlety, and then if they do it for Living End, we get these Grazers back, which potentially lets us put more lands into play. Let's get ourselves a Slayer Stronghold and a Simic Growth Chamber. Ourselves a Talaria West and Simic Growth Chamber. I'm fine with trading this Titan for a Riverwinder. We got an attack and a trigger out of it, so it's fine. A lot of these lists right now are playing like Shriek Maw was a new card. And I don't want to like just get blown out. Our life total's safe. We can make tokens to block. We're going to have an Amulet coming. Yep. Yeah, we had 2 available packs there because of the 2 Talaria West, so I don't think that they were overcoming that with a single 7/7. We could make a lot of chump blockers, so cool. Got a 5-0. So can't feel too bad about that. Scapeshift didn't shine too much necessarily in that league. The last 5-0 I got this morning with this list, I got quite a few Scapeshift kills. We did some Scapeshift things in some of our matches on stream, but not a ton. But yeah, sure. I'll run it back. Is Scapeshift officially stock? It's fine. I'm gonna probably play it for now. I like, I personally have never really liked the just regular stock lists because I think you lose too much to yourself to not drawing Titan. And I like having just something that's an extra threat, and having an extra threat that's also a ramp spell is kind of good. Yeah, I cut an Azusa and a land. So I was on a 2 Azusa list, now I'm on a 1 Azusa list. And I was on 33 lands, now I'm on 32 lands. Which, like, you know. I think we're okay. I mean, we got the sagas and the map to fix the bounce land issue. Yeah, 9 bounce lands, or you mean like 9 bounce lands max, because shift is awkward with the bounce lands. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I was on 9 bounce lands anyway, because I'm back on 2 castles, and like the 2 castles are kind of like together worth 1 bounce land, I think. Yeah. I could even see like trying to, if you wanted to go really, really wild, you could go like minus a bounce land, minus something up, go up to 4 castles. But I'm not that, I'm not there yet. If you were going up to 4 castles, I think you'd want to fit like an extra forest in the deck, maybe like a fetch land. And like at that point, you're probably going down on caverns and Besejus, and I like caverns and Besejus. I think 8 bounce lands, a Boros Garrison, and 4 castles is probably playable, but probably not optimal. But like, depending on how much you actually want to optimize for Scapeshift. But my conclusion so far is the amount I want to optimize for Scapeshift is not very much. I just want to put Scapeshift in an otherwise stock list and let it do its thing. Yeah. Yeah, I'm on 8 plus Boros. I'll keep. I think Saga into Saga is okay. And then we'll be, like, on turn 3, we'll be making Dryad plus Saga token, and turn 4 we'll potentially be killing. How many castles are you on, Francisco? So if I take 2, I don't think I can die, so I'll just block here. Yeah, I think I'm actually getting a little bit lower on Cavern. Like I still think it's a 4 in the 75. I'm doing a 3-1 split now. So I'm not quite on the like 4 in the main deck like I was. But you know, Cavern is still Cavern. I think 3-1 split is kind of fine right now. You know, maybe that's wrong, but like I don't know how much equity you get from having all 4 in the main deck. Whereas I think there's a lot of equity from having like a second Castle Garenbrig in a lot of matchups. It's always tricky. You know, everything's a sacrifice. I mean, if I was back on 33 lands, my 33rd land would be the 4th castle. Yeah, no, I get that. No, I think that like it is important to win all your game ones about against Murktide if you can. Um, Part of me is just kind of like given up on trying to optimize the Murktide matchup, and I'm just trying to make all my other matchups good, and then like, you know, do what I can against Murktide, bring in the Dismembers and the Besejus, and then just like not. I don't even bring in the Endurances against Murktide. I just bring in the Dismembers and the Besejus, and just try and play you know, just try and play Amulet Titan against them. And it's been fine enough for me. I feel like I get a close enough win rate to what I was getting with like lists where I was bringing in like 12 sideboard cards against them, uh, and then I feel like I'm just better prepared for other matchups. I should probably bring in Radiant Fountain. What do people think? Should I bring in Radiant Fountain against Burn? I'm off Steven Krasis. I think it's good against Murktide and not much else. So my plan here is actually to Saga on 2, I think. I could also Grazer into Saga, but like I think I just want to make sure that I get to cast my Titan. Okay, I think I have enough lands now where I can Saga on one. No attack is good for us. I don't know if I want to fountain into 2 open mana. So maybe I'll just play a forest and pass. Play around Skullcrack. I haven't actually played against 4-color with Scapeshift. I imagine it's not a good matchup for having Scapeshift, just because they do a lot of removing your amulets, and it's important to have Amulet with Scapeshift. Not even 100% sure I'm supposed to get Amulet here. I'm gonna hold off one more turn on the Radiant Fountain. Once again, I want to avoid Skullcrack if I can. Guess I might just die to, like, Bolt plus Boros Charm, though. Deflecting Palm. Probably should have seen that coming. Probably shouldn't have attacked for that reason. Yeah, if only we could Beseiju our own creature. Yeah, Palm is bad, but it's... I don't know, Lightning Helix is good here, which is what Palm is. I don't think Scapeshift makes Lair better. I think Lair is good against 4-color. I'm gonna need a Dryad because I think one of the only ways we win this game is if their last cards are creatures. Yeah. Okay. We need a bounce land, I think, for that game. Well, we're on the play now, so hopefully on the play goes better. Deflecting Palm's a bad card that is not good in any matchup. Like, I don't even think it's good against Murktide, which is like the situation where I think like, is like the one situation where I could see somebody trying to make an argument for deflecting Palm is like, hey, against a Murktide, but it's like, no, what you're doing is like you're just setting yourself up to be counterspelled because you are making this burn spell that has to be played with very specific timing. Against Hammer, I guess. I will begrudgingly accept that it's decent against Hammer. Okay, so next turn we get to go completely ham, and we can make it so that we don't even lose to deflecting Palm, I believe. Okay, now, first person to say in chat, I will go with what they say. Do I go for the kill, or do I get 2 bounce lands and play Cultivator Colossus with 5 lands in hand? First person in chat who answers, I'll go with what they say. So do I go for the kill, or do I go for Cultivator Colossus with 5 lands in hand? Kill, okay. I will go for the kill. Sorry. Sorry everyone's saying Cultivator, you're too slow. We're gonna kill him. If I had to worry about the clock, sure, yeah. I mean, we're also in game 3 there, so clock is not really a factor since they're dying that turn of game 3. I think Krasis is fine against Murktide, and I don't really like it anywhere else. And I don't think it changes the Murktide math enough to make me want to play it. So it looks like we're up against a creativity deck. So my plan next turn is bounce the Talaria West, Grazer the Talaria West back into play, Grazer to bounce the Talaria West, transmute it. So basically I'm going to tap the Talaria West twice next turn to pay for its own transmute. And then we can tighten them. They generally don't play any counterspells besides Remand, so we should be fine. Ooh. That is a wrench in the plans. Oh, I should have discarded the forest in case I drew Dryad, I guess. Doesn't matter. Okay. I think it's probably important for us to get this Wren off the table. I'm kind of just assuming this Titan's just dead. I'm trying to maximize on cards in hand because I think I might Cultivator Colossus. Like Cultivator Colossus and haste it. Well, doesn't matter. Yeah, and there's no card we can draw that gets us out of this one. So, Bog out. Cavern in, because they do have potentially remands. I guess I could put in a Beseiju. I keep thinking I should put engineered explosives in my sideboard. This Emrakul is never doing anything. I need to take out this Emrakul and put in engineered explosives in the sideboard. Probably want like 2 engineered explosives in the sideboard. Maybe cut a Force of Vigor since like engineered explosives is also good against a lot of the same decks as Force of Vigor, like Hammer. I just think Force of Vigor is just such a good card. I think 3 is good. Like, I'm just kind of maxing out on the good cards right here in the sideboard. Maybe I should find room for the fourth cavern in the main deck, and then cut the Emrakul, and then play 2 EEs. Yeah, I feel like creativity is the only matchup where I really feel like I miss engineered explosives. Like anything else, I'm like fine. I think there's other tools. There's other ways to approach it. Maybe Rhinos is the other one where it's pretty big, but Rhinos isn't really a deck anymore. Okay, I'll keep. So the question is, do I go for the turn 3 or the guaranteed for turn 4 kill? I think I'm going to go for like the guaranteed turn 4. Because I'm on the play, so I don't see them being able to do anything before turn 4. Yeah, I think engineered explosives should be in my sideboard. There's a lot of cards in the sideboard that I'm not going to cut for engineered explosives. And so it's just finding the room. Okay. My opponent has to deal with a lot of things to not be very dead next turn. I guess, yeah, because they have to kill the amulet, and if they besage you the amulet, we get to Titan. This is Fable. Prismari command, maybe? Yeah, maybe I should have just left a bounce land in play for this exact reason. And I'll leave a Azusa in hand to discard to an Archon, and I'll make a Saga token. They can't double Archon me because they don't have the permanence for it. I'm not convinced Construct really matters. Once we have the Amulet, we have Scapeshift. Like, we can do absolutely ridiculous things on our turn. Yeah, they do have to have something. I'll just lead on the Titan, see what happens with that. Titan resolves. Okay. Get Valakut. Maybe I'm supposed to haste the Titan? I don't know. Yeah. I'll just get Boros Slayers in case something happens to the Dryad. They could have like a Beseiju. Okay, they just have nothing. They just have actual nothing. I'll keep. This hand's kind of slow, but if I draw an Amulet, it gets really out of control very quickly. Okay, so how do I want to do this? I could go Grazer, Slayers. And then next turn, I could go Amulet. We might actually get to, like, Dryad Scapeshift this game. Like, Summoner's Pact for Dryad and then cast Scapeshift. I think it's more likely we're probably just casting Primeval Titan. Would there be any reason to Scapeshift here? We could get like a Castle Garen Brig. We could Scapeshift now and get like 2 Valakutes. Kind of also just want to leave up a Seiju. I don't know. Like, I also kind of want to discard Scapeshift. Okay, what if I Scapeshift? What am I Scapeshifting for? It's not really a backup plan because we don't really have an Amulet. And if they get an Archon, we're going to probably end up having to discard it. So it's like, do I Scapeshift here? I could get like a Cavern of Souls so that Remand isn't a thing. And then like a Castle Garen Brig so that like Ren into Beseiju doesn't stop me from tightening. I think I'm going to Scapeshift here. And I think I'm going to get... I think I'm going to sack these 2 to get a Cavern of Souls and a Castle Garen Brig. Because one of the biggest things I'm afraid of is Renin 6 plus pick up Beseiju, Gruul Turf. And then like Remand is another thing I'm afraid of. And we are currently insulated against both of those things. Now, Spells Pierce is a problem because of, like, they can Spell Pierce the Summoner's Pact. Yeah, Pierce still owns us, but I don't think there's anything I can do that plays around Spell Pierce. Oh my god, it's almost like I planned for this exact situation. Who could have predicted this exact line of play might happen? Because otherwise they could have hit the turf and we would have just been straight dead here. I think they're planning for double Archon. I think we're going to lose to that. But I don't think we can really do anything about it. They have blue mana. They absolutely could be playing Remand. Like, there's nothing I can assume about their list just by looking. Well, we're boned. Okay, Transmogrify is much better than Creativity for us. Maybe I was supposed to get, like, Sunhome rather than going for the Saga route. Oh, wow, I tapped really horrible there. That could have been... No, it wouldn't have mattered. There's no way I would have had the mana for regardless, for Castle, for, like, a Titan. Okay, so I think we're going to attack Ren in 6. And I think I'm going to get... We can't make 2 constructs because I don't have Crumbling Vestige. Yeah, I know. Of all people to not be playing Vestige. So, yeah, let's just get Saga Sunhome. No block. They have a Beseiju in hand. They also might have another Transmogrify or Creativity. I think I'm just gonna pick up Cavern. Because I won't have the blue mana for it, and also they have a Beseiju in hand, so that has exactly 0% chance of working. Simic Growth Chamber plus T-West is 100% unable to work. Is this another Transmogrify? Is it worth Besejuing something? I'll take them off blue mana. I guess this was silly. Since I either draw a Titan or I don't, is kind of the situation we're in. Okay, let's see. I think I am just dead because I can't get double Amulet and get Expedition map's already in my graveyard, so there's no way to transmute. Yeah, I'm dead. Yeah, so definitely need some engineered explosives in the sideboard. Definitely don't want this Emrakul. It just never does anything for me. I think I'm gonna actually call it here for today. So I'm gonna go ahead and raid somebody, and let's see. Let's raid Gabe Nassif. All right, thanks everybody. Have a good one. And I will see everyone next time.